Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here with Drew Kataoka. Welcome to Us Weekly.
Thank you.
We are so excited to have you here. Now, Drew is a visual artist who came up with this amazing poster. Now is the time that everybody is talking about this election season. It's so cool, and like I said, you were at the Democratic National Convention. Hillary Clinton is aware of this, and it's because it's all about Hillary, so it's pretty amazing, and it's all about the firsts for women. So tell me, how did you come up with this poster?
Well, actually, I was driving through the forest near my home in Northern California, and I was sitting there and I was reflecting on the fact that in 240 years of our nation's history, not one time have we had a woman lead our country. And it's shocking when you think about it, because we're 50% of the population, we're over 50% of the electorate, and so in a way I think as women we've been a little bit complacent. And so now we have the most qualified candidate, maybe perhaps the most qualified candidate in history. How inspiring is that?
Yes.
And so together we're on the cusp of this big historical moment. And as an artist, I was incredibly inspired. And I had a vision of an hourglass as an American flag. And I started to think about the sands of time and all the accomplishments of women who were firsts in their field. These are the pioneers, the dream makers, the change makers. And so I arranged them this hourglass going back to 1809, first woman to get a patent, 1887, first woman mayor of a town, first woman to go into space, first woman to climb Mount Everest, leading up to the first that we're hoping to witness in January, which is to see the first woman president crack the glass ceiling.
Yes, it's amazing. So then, did I read correctly that you originally were giving these out to Clinton volunteers in your home area, right?
Yeah, I'm so amazed by these extraordinary women who have really put huge portions of their life on hold to do phone banking, canvassing. They're going door to door. They're working really, really hard. And I originally started out in the spring just printing these out, giving them to those volunteers. And it's a super passionate and interconnected group.
Right.
So the word spread, and it kind of took a life of its own that was beyond what I could control. Soon there were people that were emailing me from other parts of the country. They had heard about it. Tech leaders like Mark Benioff started tweeting about it. People found out about it, and eventually the campaign reached out and said, hey, we would love to have you bring this to the DNC in July.
What was it like getting that phone call?
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And it was so inspiring. I mean, when I got there, I didn't know what to expect, but we had 2 huge life-size versions of the image and the special section, and hundreds of people coming to the booth every day. Over the course of the week, we sold out of all the posters, out of all the boxes of T-shirts. I had a couple of volunteers flying with me from California because I've been donating 100% to the campaign.
Good for you. That's
but
awesome.
The most inspiring thing was that many women would come up to me and they would interact with the image, and they would say, you know what, I'm a first. Or my mom's a first, or my grandmother's a first. My grandmother, she was the first postmistress of this little town in Liberal, Missouri. It's
crazy.
Or my grandmother, or my great aunt was first woman psychologist west of the Mississippi. And there were even women who were on the cusp of a first. I met a delegate from Texas named Tawana Cadian who said, I am running for the 10th congressional district in Texas, and if I win that seat, I will be the first woman to get that seat. So it made me realize that the image wasn't sufficiently open yet. That how could I contain all these firsts? Because the original objective of this project was to make U.S. women's history more visible. Because women's history has been hidden and in some cases deliberately obscured. And yet it's such a incredible foundation for us as young women to build on and forge the new path ahead for the future.
Right. Yeah, so who brought this to the attention of the Clinton campaign?
I don't know.
You don't know? Yeah,
It just kind of bubbled up.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So tell me about your experience at the DNC. I know you just said that you heard from a lot of women and how this kind of impacted and inspired them. Yeah. But what was your experience like being there? Was it kind of weird to be like, oh my God, I'm seeing all these people, all these famous people that are here, and that they're reacting to what I've put forward?
I think that it was really like we would get up at like 5 a.m. and we'd go to bed at like way past midnight because we were there just day in and day out, and it was fantastic. It was the richness of the stories, of the interactions of all the people that would come up. People from African American, Asian American, disabled people, trans people, all sorts of different activists, and people who would tell their story, and it was great.
Yeah. Is there one story that really stood out to you the most?
Oh, there's too
Too many.
There's
Yeah.
too many. Yeah.
Yeah. What was it like meeting Hillary Clinton? Because I know that you finally got to meet with her. What was her reaction to this? What did you guys talk about?
Yeah. Well, I've met her several times,
Okay.
and I think that she is just one of the most talented diplomats around. She's the most qualified candidate that we've ever had, and you know, it's amazing because we've had really accomplished politicians like Madeleine Albright, like Condoleezza Rice, but for some reason we as a society have not yet been able to see a woman as president. So I feel like now really is the time, and talking with her, it's always really inspirational, and thinking about that she's the one that could possibly crack this glass ceiling for us.
Did you talk about Now Is the Time?
She has signed 2 of the posters on 2
really
different
cool.
occasions
Yeah.
for me, and 2 of her different staffers has told me that she loved the image.
That's great. And I heard that you gave a certain Scream Queen goosebumps.
Yeah.
Right? Tell me about that.
Jamie Lee Curtis, when I first showed her the poster, she literally jumped backwards in the air. And there was kind of a circle of people, and they were filming on iPhone. So we have this video of her like jumping backwards, and these photos of her like showing us her goosebumps. So I thought that was cool because she's the most famous Scream Queen.
Right.
So she was just saying, now is the time that exactly this captures what we are all experiencing together. And when you said in the beginning, this is all about Hillary, it's actually, in a way, you know, Hillary's name isn't on this, and I, as the artist, didn't sign it because I feel that it's really almost about something that's bigger than Hillary, and even bigger than all of us. And so that's why I just have it just very stark as just the achievements and the dates, as if to make sure that we are representing all of this collective sisterhood.
Yeah, I like that. How long did it take you to create it?
Well, I don't remember. I mean, I actually kind of worked really hard and fast on it.
Okay.
Probably over the course of a month, not working continuously on it, but like thinking about it, putting together. But it was actually really interesting that curating the names into the Hourglass was much more difficult than I expected.
I was going to say, like, how did you whittle it down?
Because first of all, it's hard to find this information. So if you go on Wikipedia and you look for, you know, some page about some famous video game or TV show, there's thousands of editors, and people are just, it's really in depth. And if you look for lists about women's first, anywhere, it's sparse. A lot of information is inaccurate. It's very submerged, and that was interesting to me too. So I did that, and there were a number of history professors that came through at the DNC, and one woman said, "I love this because this is like 4 months of my class like compressed into one image."
Yeah.
So a lot of the posters went to schools and
state legislature in the classroom.
State legislature offices and different, you know, political arenas and phone bank offices all over.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I know you met Lena Dunham.
Yeah.
What was her reaction too?
Well,
she has a great picture of her holding it. Yeah.
I really admire Lena Dunham, especially with what she's done with Lenny Letter, which I think fills a real need. And she's a great role model in Hollywood. I told her all about Now's the Time, and I said, can we take a photo of you with this image, because we're documenting and archiving all these historic firsts. And she said, I would be honored to. And she was so gracious, and she just smiled, and she loved it.
Yeah,
and she got it. It really resonated with her.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, and Chloe Grace Moretz as well.
Yes, she was fantastic. I mean, we were just, you know, over our shoulder, just watching Obama speak, just watching Michelle Obama, and everyone was on such a high every night, and we were kind of floating on air, and she loved the image, and we took pictures and we talked about it.
That's so cool. And then you spoke to one of my favorites, Katy Perry.
Yes,
I love Katy.
Yes,
yeah.
She had just come off the stage in her glittering gown with a fantastic performance, and she was really excited about it as well.
Yeah. Are you channeling Katy with your shoes today? You got glittery sneakers on. If you can't see, they're awesome.
It's a star-spangled kind of month and countdown, and I'm actually like wearing the shirt a lot because I feel like this is the countdown to the moment we've been waiting for.
Well, you're wearing the T-shirt with McQueen, so yeah, I love your skirt. It's adorable. It's so cute. And then you got these awesome headphones on too.
Yeah. So this is a collaboration with this amazing company called Friends. Keir Dillon is the founder. He's a real visionary. And Friends they're a leader in audio accessories for women. Britney Spears, Rihanna wear their products. But I created an edition of headphones they're called the Vote cap. Vote headphones. So it says Vote, has the American flag, and because they have such a big millennial-facing audience, this is like a cool, creative way to engage with young women and think about getting out the vote.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love them. How did you first get into art?
I have been passionate about art my whole life. I was born in Japan, and I started in Japanese ink painting. And in my work, I actually blend more traditional techniques like Japanese ink painting and different fine art forms with a lot of cutting edge technology, like I'm using virtual reality, I'm using brain waves, I'm using relativistic effects, and I also sent artwork into space for the first zero gravity art exhibit at the International Space Station.
That's awesome.
So, but I like to bring together art and technology to create social impact. I'm interested in creating art that can actually make impact, move the needle, serve a purpose. I've used my art to deepen engagement around social justice, around issues like infant mortality, around issues of, like education of women and girls.
Got it. And speaking of technology, you've actually turned Now Is the Time into an app, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so tell me all about this.
So what happened was, as I mentioned, because there were so many incredible women that would come up to me and tell me their stories, I realized that I wanted to create a platform to capture all of those different firsts.
Okay.
And so Now Is the Time 2016.com is the interactive site. It's very easy. It just takes 30 seconds, but you can go there and it says First Woman To, and you can say, type, for example, I'm the first woman to go to college in my family. You could, you could, for example, that's an example.
Okay.
And then you could say, okay, that happened in 1971, for example, or if you're just entering this in. And then what happens is you get a personalized image of Now's the Time, where your achievement is boldened in red, but it's sorted chronologically in the proper place in the hourglass.
That's so cool.
So what happens is that you've literally written yourself into U.S. history, and then you can share on Facebook, Twitter, or you can download it.
I was going to say, you can download it and print it out too.
You can download it and print it out. You can share it. And if you're a woman, you can add a first from your own career. If you're a man, you can add a first of your mom, of your wife, of your daughter, or of a woman colleague. So it's for men and women both.
I love that. That's really awesome. That's so cool. So what's next? Are you planning on creating any more art around, the upcoming election, or, the inauguration, everything like that? What's your plans for
everyone
what's next?
is asking me
I'm
about
sure.
the inauguration and what's happening next, and I have something planned. So I would just say to stay tuned to drue.net, drue.net, to see what I will do after the election.
Yeah, definitely. So I have to ask you, out of all the people that you've met so far, who has left you the most starstruck?
Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question. Well, actually, yesterday I was at Dreamforce, which is a conference held by Mark Benioff in San Francisco, where 170,000 people come. It's an extraordinary event. And I met Congressman John Lewis. And he is the person that has left the deepest imprint on me. He walked with Dr. King. He marched for civil rights. He had his skull fractured as he was doing this. So when we talk about what each of us is doing to put ourselves on the line to advance issues around social justice, around women's rights, around equality, if we look at somebody like John Lewis, he is really the gold standard. And I told him about Now Is the Time, and he said, thank you so much for doing this. This is such important work.
That did feel pretty good.
So I really admire him, and I really like to hear him talk about Dr. King. He said that Dr. King's father told Dr. King, son, make it plain, make it clear, tell the story. And I just thought that was wonderful.
That's amazing. Were you watching the debate on Sunday?
Yeah, the vice presidential debate, yes.
No, the presidential debate.
Oh, the presidential debate. Oh, will I be watching it? Yes, I will. I will.
I know who you're rooting on.
Yes.
Of course. Yes. Drew, thank you so much. This was so great. Thank you so much for coming in and talking about Now Is the Time. Make sure you guys download the app and write your history into this.
And the thing is, it's not in the App Store. It's actually a URL because I want to make it easier for people. So you just go to nowisthetime2016.com and boom, you're there. You're at it first in 30 seconds and you can share it.
Awesome.
And together we may propel a first woman president into office. So how cool is that?
It's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for doing this. It's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.